Hello and welcome to the Oxygenaddict Triathlon Podcast. We're brought to you the Oxygenaddict Triathlon Podcast. We're brought to you every week by our sponsors, tgstore.co.uk.
The home of Gore Bike Wear, Gore Running Wear and Aquasphere wetsuits. You can get 10% off with the code OxygenAddict10 and you can win a Gore Bike or a Gore Run jacket at tgstore.co.uk/OxygenAddict.
And we're also brought to you by team.oxygenaddict.com.
Event-specific training plans, coaching guidance from Coach Rob Wilby.
Hello.
Hello.
That's me.
And supportive teammates in a private Facebook group.
And welcome to the show, Hells. How on earth are you today, this rainy Monday?
I'm feeling mixed, Rob. I'm feeling a little bit sleepy because I was doing a few early shifts over the weekend, so they always like screw me up slightly. Then this rain's and just annoying me. And then I'm feeling very excited because I go to Italy at the end of the week, but also I was just double checking our route through Rome, and I'm like, oh my God, that bit does not look good. So I might have to jiggle around a little bit. I'm a bit scared about going on big roads and down tunnels through a city. No. So I found a bike
Friday,
path.
isn't it? You go.
Yep.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Helen and her man are off for a 14-day bike ride across Italy.
More like 11 days. I think we're cycling 11 days.
Covering 1,000 miles in 11 days, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. That's hardcore right there. That is a hardcore holiday.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know you've told me already, but I can't quite get my head around this. You've got like a little saddlebag to take all your stuff with you for 11 days. That's got to be a feat of packing engineering like no one's ever seen.
I know. I was trying last night, and I have a compression bag, and I don't have a whole load of stuff which isn't cycle gear. Put it that way.
So what are you taking with you for 11 days? You've got the kit you go in, and presumably a spare pair of pants. And what else can you fit in?
So I'm taking the kit I'll be riding in. I'm taking a very light, like a lightweight sort of down jacket thing.
Yep.
So one of them, I'm taking a Gore jacket to protect me if it starts peeing it down.
Nice.
Then I'm taking one pair of shorts. At the moment, I've got like a vest top in, which I can, wear afterwards, and one t-shirt. I have two pairs of pants. I have one bra. And then, that's kind of, I'm going to put my cosy in, Rob. That's my luxury.
You are so hardcore. For 11 days, two pairs of pants, a vest, and a pair of shorts.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Are you going to have something long in for your leggies in case it gets chilly one day? You're going to put a pair of...
No, this is what we're going with. We're going with leg warmer options, and we'll just have to look complete and utter tits if it's cold in the evenings with leg warmers on and board shorts or something.
Love it. Good for you. You can always snuggle up, can't you? If it's cold, you can go to bed.
Yeah. So minimalist packing. Even yesterday, honestly, I was putting sort of toiletries out, and there's a bit of me thinking, we're staying in hotels, or like bed and breakfasts, there will have soap.
Yeah.
But I did have a little separate pot of one of shampoo and then one of shower gel, and I was like, no, that's ridiculous. I need to just take one which covers both.
Good for you. You've even gone minimal on the actual cleaning products.
Yeah. I've even put in. You can get little. They're almost like leaves for. So for hand washing clothes, they're like little leaves. So it's like a tiny little packet. Right. And when it mixes with water, you probably need about 2 or 3 of them. But then essentially it's kind of soapy stuff.
Oh, how brilliant.
So
good idea.
There you go. Yeah. So I'm excited, but kind of, nervous as well. And I've got a few Tribe bars in.
Jolly good. Fill your tummy up.
Yeah. And I've sent out some precision hydration sachets for we're staying with like friends of friends of friends at about day 5, so we can refuel on precision hydration on day 5.
Oh, so you're sending a little bit of stuff out ahead of you. That's pretty smart.
Yep.
Good for you. Oh, you need to take care of that.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be boiling.
But
anyway, there you go. It's exciting. It's
brilliant
like
fun. Love it.
Adventure.
Yeah, good. I've got sore legs, Hells. I did a marathon yesterday.
I love it. Oh, how was it?
It was a long way. It was good value for money. It was just over 28 miles, so we got a couple of extra miles thrown in for free.
Brilliant. Around Snowdonia, wasn't it?
Yeah, we ran from Llanberis up Snowdon, down the other side, most of the way around Wales, back again, up and down some hills. It was amazing. It was the most brilliant course that took you through some places you'd never know even existed. We went through the copper mines, we went alongside the river out of Bedgellet, scrambled along some rocks, did a couple of stream crossings through bogs, through a forest. It was just epic. It was absolutely brilliant. And as Rushy and I did it together, and we were egging each other on to get up to the top of this last hill. God, it can't be much further than the top of that hill. And we got there, and Rushy said, "Well, that's 26 miles, mate." Like, oh my God, we can't even see Llanberis on the horizon yet. We staggered down the other side. So yeah, that was 6.25 hours of pure bliss and enjoyment.
Oh, that sounds right up my street. And Rob, if it was so amazing, who organises this run, and where can people sign up for next year?
Yeah, that'd be cool actually. They do a series of them. They're called Maverick X. If you go and check them out on Facebook, or their website's really cool. They've got loads of drone videos on there. Maverick X organised it, and they had 3 different distances of race on, and I think they do at most of their races as well, and they pretty much have one on every month for the rest of the year. So Peak District down in Hampshire and places like that as well. I think they've had 2 or 3 this year already, and there's 2 or 3 left, so we'll definitely be going back to do more of them. But really chilled out vibe. And for the drinkers amongst you, you get a bottle of beer as you cross the finish line. So poor old Rushy got 2 bottles of beer.
I love races that give a bottle of beer when you cross the finish line.
It was cool. You got a bottle of beer, you got a little sachet of some kind of cream to rub into your aching legs, and a Tribe bar, which was well received at that point.
Oh, nice. And what was it to enter? Like 30 quid?
A bit more, yeah. It was about 50 quid actually for the marathon. But
okay.
Yeah, don't begrudge that at all for an event of that distance. It was really well put on, and yeah, very, very cool indeed. Highly recommended. However, my legs are in absolute tatters today. Our plan was to do a bit of pre-fatiguing to prepare for this ultra in a couple of weeks. So I did 3 hours on Thursday, I did an hour Friday morning, I did 2 hours up and down Snowdon on Friday night, which is the perfect way to prepare for a marathon, right?
Yeah.
And I met Rushy Saturday morning. He's like, "How are you, mate?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm a bit sore already." And he said, "Great. Just think of this as the last 28 miles then." So as long as his theory's right, we're going to be okay for race day. So you can kind of... Rushy's theory is that once your legs start hurting, you can just keep on going as long as you don't try and speed up. They're never going to hurt any more than this. And he was right. They didn't hurt any more than this, but there was certainly no change of pace going on, that's for sure.
Oh my God, I'm well impressed, Rob. I like the fact that A, you actually signed up, and B, you are going full on into it.
Yeah, I'm going to do it and see how we get on. I don't know psychologically how I'm going to deal with the idea of running away from the start line, like 26 miles away from the start line before turning round. That's going to be the hard bit. Somehow when you're on a circular course, it's like you can always turn around and come back or cut the corner.
I remember doing a half marathon actually in Ireland, and they drove you on a coach from the finish line to the start line. That was quite hard.
Crikey.
So you're like, oh.
It's like you're running home.
Yeah.
Wowzers, yeah, tough one. Whew. And how did you deal with that mentally?
Oh, probably just thought, well, as soon as I start moving, I'll be closer to the end.
Yeah, like it.
Maybe tried not to look out the window. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's quite a long drive in a bus, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Just ignore it. That's the best thing. And just think, you're doing it for fun. You've chosen to do it, and it is going to be amazing.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. You choose to do it, and you learn about yourself when you're out there, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. It was incredible. The scenery was beautiful, and you will have the same. It's
going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to gather myself mentally over the next 2 weeks, I think. It's the same for everyone though, isn't it? Everyone who's doing a big challenge this year is going through this at the moment, I think, thinking, can they do it? It's good to put yourself back in that place and remember what it feels like, for sure.
Yeah, because we know that we all can, but all the feelings of doubt, it's exactly the same, isn't it, before any race, and you feel great most days in training, you feel fine, and then you think, how on earth is this all going to come together? But it does.
Yeah, there you go. Keep telling me that.
Yeah, it'll come together. It'll be good.
All right, come on, let's jump on with our show. That's enough about our nonsense, isn't it? We'll do results first. Results this week. Do you want to do our sponsor? Who we're sponsored by in this section?
Brought to you by tgstore.co.uk, and as we said earlier, the home of Gore Bikewear, Gore Running Wear and Aquasphere wetsuits, and you can get 10% off with the code Oxygenaddict10. And Rob, were you in Gore stuff this weekend?
Rushy was in Gore stuff this weekend, actually, and I was extremely jealous as I was hot and cold and sweaty and freezing in the wind, and Rushy was perfectly temperature regulated. I kept saying to him, I'm really cold in this wind, and he's like, oh, you want to get one of these t-shirts? And it turned out to be, happily enough, one of the Gore Mythos 6.0 t-shirts he was wearing. So it comes highly recommended by Rushy, and I'm going to have to get myself one, I think, because my choice of kit did not cut it for... You know, when you leave the start line and it's 15 degrees and you get to the summit and it's about 2 degrees with a wind chill of about -10, and you're thinking, oh, I could do with some proper clothes for this, actually. So highly recommended by ultra distance runner and winner Matt Rushbrook. Get yourself some Gore Run kit over at tgstore.co.uk. That's the way to go and check it out, isn't it?
That very much is. So let's start then, Rob, in Slovakia, which was the Challenge family, their event brand, the championship race, and this looked absolutely incredible, and the race venue was getting so many rave reviews from all the athletes, and everybody else involved in it was just saying this place is amazing. They had blue skies all day, Rob, and everything seemed quite sort of compact in that area, so the run the supporters could get involved because it was laps, but it seemed quite a technical run. The bike was very, very flat, and a case of being in the same position for 90k. But yeah, it looked a really, really great race. And obviously the start list, we spoke about it a little bit last week, stellar lineup on both the men's and the women's side. Did you manage to follow any of it, Rob, or were you up and out in Snowdonia at that point?
I was up on top of a mountain, unfortunately, when all this was going on, but I had a guy who was racing out there and he said similar. He raved about the setup, the organisation. He just said it was absolutely brilliant, and the thing that he found was really cool was that the age group has had loads of access to the pros at the parties and the thing beforehand and afterwards. There was loads of photos posted of them with the pros sitting around and at the press conference and stuff like that. So, like you said, great weather, great venue, amazingly fast bike course as well, wasn't it? And we'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. But fair play to Challenge and hats off to them. It looks like they've created, firstly, an event in a venue that people are going to want to go back to and rave about. It's going to attract loads of age groupers because people are going to want to post really blazing fast splits on an event like that, but also getting the field depth that they've done by throwing the money at the pro athletes is really brilliant as well, isn't it? So top respect to them for that. Absolutely. So Rob, what happened in the men's race, first of all, was that basically Brownlee, I think, was second out the water. Alistair Brownlee, two-time Olympic champion. But the ones that we were looking out for how far back were they going to be, would have been Lionel Sanders and Sebi Keenley, and also who else was up there? Yeah, Richard Murray was going to be racing. Mark Buckingham was racing. There were loads of them racing. But Brownlee basically pretty soon got into the lead on the bike and then was pushing hard on the bike. And of course, for him, it was a very flat course, and somewhere like St George and Gran Canaria, where he had done his first races, middle distance races, they were a lot more challenging bike courses, weren't they? So this was a different sort of bike course. And then you could see Sebi Keenley and Lionel Sanders sort of chasing him on the bike. So Brownlee
came out the water, and I think in like, was it 22 something? Obviously Richard Varga was first out the water, but Brownlee was only like
22,
a minute.
15 it says.
Yeah, so Varga was out in 21:31. Brownlee was 45 seconds back on him, and then Lionel Sanders and Sebi Keenley were about 3.25 minutes back from the leaders.
Yeah.
And then basically Sanders and Keenley were like riding together, not together because there was a 20-meter draft rule, but they were riding together because they came out the water together.
I think the eyebrow raiser there is Sanders getting out of the water next to Sebi Keenley, because the gap there, 2 minutes to Ellie Brownlee, that's the kind of, it's a closer gap I think than we'd have expected for Keenley to be down on Brownlee after a half Ironman. So he's had a good swim, but Sanders has had an even better swim to get out of the water with Keenley. To have them out together is a pretty deadly combination, isn't it?
Absolutely. And Sanders said in his post-race interview, he had never, that was the best swim he's ever done, and he said, even if I had, faded and blown up on the run, he said I would have gone home happy, because that is a massive improvement for me in the swim. Yeah. I was fascinated, Rob, fascinated by watching them on the bike because of their different styles. Like Brownlee just looks so smooth on the bike, and then you look at Sanders and he's got a lot of movement, upper body movement on the bike.
Yeah, he's a real powerhouse, isn't he? He really muscles his way over it.
Yeah, but it's amazing to watch, because you're just like, wowzers, he is properly going for it. And it's similar on the run. He and Keenley were running very much together, and Keenley sort of looks, it's like quite a beautiful form of running, isn't it? Whereas Sanders looks a bit more just like powerful. And
yeah, it doesn't look like the speed's coming easily to him, does he? He looks like he's working for it, but he can't take anything away from him. He can sure move, that's for certain.
Absolutely. And that's what's brilliant to see, that again it goes back to, there are all sorts of different athletes, different shapes and sizes, yet they can all produce the goods essentially, and just in a very different way. But it was great to watch. So what happened was Brownlee came off the bike first. Sanders and Keenley had made up about, I think, what they made up on him.
Yeah, because they were only 40 seconds down when they came into transition.
Exactly. So they had made that time up, and then Brownlee led out on the run, but essentially didn't look in great shape quite soon in on the run.
It's interesting to me, actually. Did he not look great when he got onto the run? Did he look like he was hot and uncomfortable?
He looked fine for the first little bit, and then it just looked like, oh no, he's not looking great.
Right. Okay.
And just slowing. And then, but Sanders and Keenley looked like, it was like Chase was on. And then the two of them just stuck together for a lot of the run. And again, afterwards, Sanders was saying that Keenley was almost putting surges in, but he said that he knew from last time out at the last year's World Championships that he had done the same to Tim Reed and then faded. So he said he knew if he could stick with him and just absorb the surges, that actually he might be able to kind of get him towards the finish of that run.
Yeah, wow. So it sounds like a great race, eh?
It was really, really good to watch. So it was won by Lionel Sanders in 3:40. Keenley finished second in 3:41.46, and Michael Raylard third in 3:45.34. Brownlee DNF'd, he didn't finish it. Richard Murray, ITU athlete, his first middle distance race, he did a 3:50.22 to come in fifth. And we should mention that Mark Buckingham was 10th in 3:58. And then Rob, so the men's race was really, really exciting. But then, oh my God, the women's race towards the end of the run, that was brilliant to follow as well.
Didn't we just have the right interview on at the right time, hey? So if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to Lucy Charles's interview with us last week.
Yeah, totally. So Lucy Charles did win, right? But it didn't look like that was going to happen for a large sort of part of the run. Annabelle Luxford and Heather Wurtell were out in front. Kimberly Morrison, she was running really, really well to begin with off the bike, but then Luxford quickly overtook her, and honestly, so Charles was basically chasing Luxford and Wirtel. At one point, Luxford, it almost looked like it was hers to lose. Wirtel then kind of came up. Then they were running. Then Wirtel went in the lead a bit. Luxford dropped back a bit. Then I think they switched the lead, and then charging down towards the end was Lucy Charles, who was did a storming run, Rob. She did a 1:25, 4 minutes faster than Heather Wirtel and Annabelle Luxford.
Wowzers, that's amazing, isn't it? And especially to run back. She's done this a few times, hasn't she? Had really, really strong last 5Ks in her runs recently.
Yeah, it's honestly absolutely brilliant. So she did superbly
so final
well.
K, took him in the final K for the win.
Yeah, yep.
Brilliant. Oh, top work, Lucy. We're really proud of you. Well done.
Yeah, and also we should mention that Kimberly Morrison, again, another superb bike split. She did a 2:13 on the bike, Rob. Just looked in complete and utter control on the bike. And then I think fantastic race from Kim to finish 6th as well. So good work. Good work. So yeah, Lucy Charles wins 4:13.59. She did a 23:25 swim, 2:22 bike and a 1:25 run. Annabelle Luxford, Australia, second in 4:14, and then Heather Wirtel of Canada, third in 4:15.
Interesting that Lucy's bike was significantly slower than the second and third placed athletes there, and yet her run is super, super strong at the end. So we know she's got that incredible bike form at the moment. I wonder whether she held herself back a little bit on the bike this time and tried to lay it out on the run. It'd be interesting to know, wouldn't it?
Maybe, and maybe she had Lanza in. I don't know. Maybe she had Lanza in the legs a little bit. Was wary of that.
Yeah.
And but then still felt good when she got off the bike.
Was it a week after Lanza? Was it 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks after Lanza. Yeah. Maybe she felt a bit flat. Even so, though, what a brilliant victory. Well done, Lucy. Top
Superb
stuff. Right, a couple of other quick results to cover off for you. Down at Blenheim this weekend, we had the British Championships over sprint distance. In the men's distance, in the men's race, it was taken out by Olympian Gordon Benson in 58.26, from Chris Perham in 58.29, and James Teagle in third in 58.35. So close racing there.
And then Sophie Caldwell continued her brilliant form at the moment to win the women's race. She said it's her 7th year. Sorry, it's not her 7th year there, is it? She said it's her 8th year of trying, and she finally becomes national champion. So she's pretty chuffed with that. So she wins in 1:05. Sophie Sala second in 1:07, and Beth Potter, brilliant result from her to finish in 1:08. She's a track athlete. We mentioned her a couple of weeks ago, Rob. She is going to be focusing on triathlon for a little bit, but mixing the two, to be honest. So yeah, bringing triathlon into the mix as well as her track running. So brilliant stuff from Beth Potter.
Yeah, nice way to go and get yourself a result there, hey? And then
Totally.
Over in North America, we had the 70.3 rally race in North Carolina. This one was taken out by Tyler Butterfield in 3:53, from Andrew Yoder in 3:55, and Jackson Laundry in the fantastically named Jackson Laundry in 3:56. It's a great name, isn't it?
I really like that one, but I also like Antoine Jolicoeur Desroches of Canada. That's quite a cool name too.
Yeah, very cool.
But yeah, Jackson Laundry, that's a solid name. In the women's race, Stephanie Roy of Canada won in 4:19 ahead of Leslie Smith, and then Liz Lyles in third.
Cool stuff. Right, moving on then. Coach's Couch this week. We've had a question from Kirsten J. Owen on Twitter, haven't we?
We have, and Kirsten says, as a newbie and a bad swimmer, what advice would you give for getting quicker? And then I like this bit, Rob. I don't take direction very well.
I want to get better, but I don't want anybody to tell me to do anything differently. So first up, Kirsten, you've got two choices. Go away for a year and do your own thing for a year, and then come back to us and say, I've tried to do my own thing for a year and not got any better. What shall I do? So my first bit of advice is you're going to have to learn to take direction well, right? So swimming is, I've got this listed further on in my points, but swimming is a skill sport much more than a fitness sport. So you're probably very fit already from your cycling and your running. It's not a lack of fitness that's holding you back in the pool. It's going to be a lack of technique and a lack of application of that fitness to produce power in the water. So if you can get a good coach who knows what they're doing to look over your stroke, they can probably save you months, if not years, of painful slogging up and down and making no progress. So find yourself a tri club or a coach who specialises in swimming and get some one-to-one work done. Even if you just get a friend to video you and see what you look like above and below the water, if possible, you can learn a lot from just looking at that. The second thing is, once you've worked out what your stroke flaws are, follow some drills that are specific to improving those whatever stroke flaws you've got. If you're not sure what they are, go online. You can check out the Swim Smooth or Total Immersion. They've got some great drills for working out how to make your stroke improvements in the shortest possible time. Get yourself a structured plan to follow. So once you've sorted out these stroke flaws, then you're going to start working on applying some fitness. So a structured training plan is going to make you essentially get fitter at the fastest possible rate. I think if you're serious about improving your swimming, you need to commit to it 3 times a week. So that's something to bear in mind. If you're from a non-swimming background, certainly it's a skill practice element more than it is a fitness training element. So you don't have to kill yourself when you get in the water, but just getting in and swimming easy and practicing good technique is going to help you improve. Take control of your own learning, so look at videos and websites and magazines and take in everything you can as you think it relates to your stroke flaws and whatever stroke flaws you've been told from your coach. And lastly, don't try and rush it. Because it's a skill sport, you can't force these improvements on yourself in the same way you can a fitness improvement. You're going to have to practice those skills and accept that they're going to improve at whatever rate they improve at, and just enjoy it. Enjoy your time in the water. So they are my tips for you, but the number one there, the key thing is get some coaching and some advice on how to improve your technique.
Good advice. And Rob, I'm going to chip in here because you do hear people who say, I couldn't swim front crawl, and within a year, I could complete, the swim of an Olympic distance. You hear about people within a year being able to complete the swim of a half iron distance or an iron distance race. So it absolutely is doable if you're willing to put the work in, isn't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. And the other thing to remember that I haven't mentioned here is if you're doing a race with a wetsuit on, part of the battle for beginner swimmers is just getting your body to float in the water, and once you've got a wetsuit on, that's taken away. So if you've got any kind of ability to do a basic front crawl stroke, as soon as you put a wetsuit on, you are going to be able to move yourself through the water. And a lot of people don't, a lot of newbies to triathlon don't realise that the wetsuit's going to have as big effect as it's going to have. So don't let that hold you back. I remember my first half Ironman, I didn't think of myself as very much of a swimmer at all, but just having been for a swim a couple of times in my surfing wetsuit, I realised, well, my body's floating here really easily. All I've got to do is keep moving my arms, and I'm going to keep moving forward. And to be honest, I wasn't a lot slower in that first race than I ended up being for the majority of the years when I was actually training. So the wetsuit can cure a lot of those ills if you've got the basic cardiovascular fitness to move your arms through the water. All you've got to do a lot of the time is get out of your own way and stop making mistakes that are holding you back, like, spreading your legs while you're breathing or something like that is something that really slows people down. But yeah, you can absolutely get to the point where you can be a good enough swimmer to complete your first triathlon in not a huge amount of swim training at all, to be honest, if you've got a basic level of fitness.
And the other thing, Rob, is that some days you do feel absolutely rubbish in the water and it feels like treacle and you think, oh, I haven't made any progress. No, you will have made some progress. It's just some days are bad days, and other days you feel great.
You still have this, don't you? You still have the day when you call me and you go, I just feel awful in the water and everything's rubbish, and you go, yeah, but you just did a sub 30-minute half Ironman swim, and you go, oh yeah, of course. It's this programming of remembering that everything isn't exactly how it feels in the moment. You've got to look at the bigger picture with swimming, and like Helen just said, some days you're going to feel rubbish in the water and not feel it, and other days you'll feel great. So if we could answer the mystery of why that is, we could make an awful lot of money, couldn't we, Helen?
Yeah. And Rob, well, should we stick with water, by the way? I was going to say, Kirsten, thank you so much for your question. And remember, if you have a question for us, then do get in touch. You can get us on Twitter. We are at OA Tri Podcast. But Rob, talking of swimming and talking of pools, while we're on it, last week you said, we want your photos of the best outdoor pools in the UK.
We had loads get sent through on Twitter, didn't we?
Oh, yeah. So go back through our Twitter feed at OA Tri Podcast and you'll see some of them. We had the gang at Clapham Chasers sending us a photo of their Friday morning training in the 91 metre Tooting Beck. I've been in there. Thankfully, they're all in wetsuits because when I went in, it was bloody cold in there. We had Hampstead Heath Lido, looked pretty British, Rob. It was quite cloudy. We had quite a few in Oxfordshire. I was so impressed with them. So
really?
Anita, heated pool in Oxford.
Nice.
From Anita. Then we had Hathersage Lido as well. That looks really nice, classical. Yeah. Have you been there?
Yeah, Manchester Tri Club used to, I don't know if they still do, did a training weekend and used that for the swim, the outdoor swim on their Peak District training weekend. Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yep, so that was Darren getting in touch, and he also sent us two. He sent us one from Cirencester, which looks like there's a castle in the background. It looks, or some beautiful building in the background.
We need to go on tour, Hells. We need to go and visit them all.
Jesus Green Pool in Cambridge from Ian. He sent that one in. Another 91 metres. What was it? It was 91 metres, Rob.
It's 100 yards, isn't it?
There you go.
It was built, it'll have been 100 yards.
And apparently Lucy Gossage knows it well, but again, not heated. We had Rob Jones, who sent us Pontypridd Lido, a little bit sunnier than when I visited it. And we had Alex Bradley, another one for Oxford's Hinksey Pool. And then one more. We had Banbury's 50-metre outdoor pool, Rob, from Gary. So thanks for all of those, because they made our day.
I know
one more, Rob.
Go on.
One more. The Cheltenham Lido. Richard Doyle sent us a photo of Cheltenham, and I know that Nikki Bartlett does a lot of her swim training there as well, and that looks beautiful.
Nice. So get yourself to one of these, swim outdoors on the next beautiful day that we have. That's the way to go, isn't it?
Yes.
So that section was sponsored by Team Oxygen Addict. If you want to find out more about coaching and training plans, go over to team.oxygenaddict.com and you can find out about our coach supported training plans. We've got video calls where you can ask for advice, and we've got a supportive Facebook group with loads of other athletes just like you who are super keen getting advice to get them as fast as they can be. All right, over onto our news section. What's going on in the world, Hells?
So first thing, we mentioned Alex Yee the other day, who had done a blisteringly fast time for 5,000 metres just the other week, hadn't he? Yeah. But get well soon, basically, to Alex, because the 19-year-old had a crash in the ITU Triathlon World Cup in Italy this weekend. It sounds awful, Rob. He basically collided with another rider and hit a bollard, and he's got broken ribs, broken vertebrae, and a collapsed lung.
Oh God, poor kid. Talk about going from the highs to the lows.
I know. British Triathlon say that he briefly lost consciousness after the crash, but they say that he is receiving a very high level of care and hopes that he will be able to return home in the next few days. So big get well soon to young Alex.
Yeah, bless him. And another quick bit of news before we finish. There's a new 70.3 over in Finland.
Yeah, this one is going to be in Lahti, which is about an hour from Helsinki, Rob. It sounds really quite cool. So it will be June the 30th, 2018. And of course, near around, the time of the longest day of the year, isn't it? So the race is going to start at 4 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah, a bit different, isn't it? So the finish line will be open until midnight. So regardless of the finish time, it'll still be bright. And basically, you'll be able to see the midnight sun. How cool is that?
It does sound very, very cool. Although imagine trying to eat for a 4 o'clock start. Imagine you'd have to get up early, I suppose. That would suit us, wouldn't it? Maybe we should go and do that one.
4 p.m. start. You'd have to to practice a little bit, wouldn't you? You think to Olympics and, you've got a 100-meter final at 10 p.m. at night. Like, how the heck do you prepare for those things? Or a really late kickoff in a football match. It's done, and it's done quite regularly, but we don't do it very often. So, yeah, you would absolutely have to practice.
Yeah. I'll think about that, hey?
There you go. Maybe it's definitely one. It would appeal, wouldn't it? It sounds quite beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. Love the sound of that. And I think we're pretty much there then, aren't we? We got one other thing from Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Well, do we do our interview first, Rob?
Oh, of course we do. Ha!
Yeah.
We've gone right to our interview and done the news before that. Look at that.
Yeah. You're getting carried away. Let's have our interview first, and then we'll come back and mention a couple more things.
I've had a little brain bubble there. Right, so this week's interview is the super duper one I was telling you all about from last week. We've got our old mate Brian Fogarty back on, fresh from his overall age group win at IM Lanzarote. So without further ado, we'll go over to the interview. Okay, so it's a great pleasure to welcome Brian Fogarty back onto the show. Brian, how on earth are you, my friend? It's good to talk again.
Yeah, you too, Rob. Thanks for having me back. Yeah, it's an honour. I know you've grown a lot since we last spoke, so it's fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Well, we've got to have you back on after a performance like you just stuck in at Lanzarote, mate. How are you feeling? Are the legs recovered yet? Are you walking downstairs backwards still?
No, to be honest, it's the first time after an Ironman. I actually had an extra couple of days out in Lanzarote, so I was able to enjoy a couple of relaxing days with my wife, which really has made a difference. Something I never usually get to do. And I'm feeling quite good. I am. The legs are pretty much back, and obviously I've not done a great deal of training, but I've got the bug back to get cracking.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. So listen, if anyone isn't aware of this, you just finished 11th overall and first age group at IM Lanzarote, which is just such a phenomenal performance, man. Because Lanzarote it's like the jewel in the crown of the races outside of probably Ironman Frankfurt. I think it's one of the longest established races. It's got so much kudos, and to win the overall age group race there, man, you must be over the moon with it, are you?
I am, Rob. Yeah, it was something that I knew I could do. I felt confident. I put a lot of work in over winter to hit that goal. You've got to be realistic, and that was something I felt like I was capable of, getting that top 10, in and around top 10. But obviously winning the first amateur was something I wanted. And yeah, I'll met up with it. Really met up with it. It's a great start to the year.
And I'm gonna read out your splits because I'm a bit of a stats geek. So I've got this up on the screen here. You did a 1:01:47 swim, 4:58 on the bike, which I've got you down as being the third fastest bike split of the day, and then a 3:15 to bring it home in 9:22, which is mind blowing. So I mean, you had a great race there last year. If I remember rightly, you were about 10 minutes faster than last year. Is that right?
A bit more, I think.
Was it?
I think about 9:36 last year, 9:34.
Okay, yeah. So
about just over 10 minutes. Yeah.
We'll call it 15. How about that?
Yeah, that'll do.
So you've obviously been putting in the hard yards since we last spoke. I mean, you were obviously putting in the hard yards when we spoke last time, and you're still on that progression of getting better and better and better, and you've always been known as one of the best bikers in the sport, and that must be amazing for you to ride a split like that and be up, third fastest overall bike split of the day, well up amongst the pros. And
yeah,
how's your experience of racing with a swim where you've done sort of a 1:01? Your swim is probably relatively a little bit weaker than your other two, I think it's fair to say, so you must get that like driving through the field experience, right?
It is. It's great. It is good. Obviously, I need to address the swimming, but it is work in progress. I just can't commit the time that I need, I think, to really make that big jump. So it's damage limitation. There's still a lot to come off that. I fully believe that. But yeah, getting onto the bike where it sort of comes into my own a little bit. Obviously, working with Matt, as you know. It's fantastic getting back amongst them, but I do obviously make it very hard for myself.
So what was the experience like of riding through the field then? There must have been a couple of hundred people ahead of you, even with a decent swim like a 101. There's probably a couple of hundred age groupers in that kind of area, right?
Yeah, it's great because you start spotting them. There was a couple of pros I was aware of, sort of lesser known pros, and I'd raced quite a few times against them. And I passed them very early on the bike, so I knew then that the swim, although it's not great, it was okay, and I was passing pros early on the bike, which meant I could put a good chunk of time into them, which gave me confidence. And then you start passing big names that you know, and yeah, your confidence just gets higher and higher. And it was I actually rode quite within myself, which was even more pleasing.
Did you?
Yes, yeah. I was sensible. I wasn't stupid, but I was confident. I wanted to put a good run in, which didn't quite happen as I'd hoped. Although it was solid, I do think that on the day the conditions got to me with that, to be honest with you.
Everyone we've spoken to, I spoke to Lucy Charles a few days ago, and she was saying it was unbelievably hot out there, even by Lanzarote standards.
Yeah, it was stifling. She's awesome, by the way.
Isn't she?
Had a great race.
Yeah.
Incredible. But yeah, it was the run especially. I think there was talk that the wind as you know, Lanzarote, it's always windy. But halfway through the course on the day, the wind changed apparently, and sort of made it against you the whole way.
It isn't hard enough.
That sounds, yeah. There's generally a part of it that's quite a good tailwind, but it switched and it was against you, which probably suited me, being a slightly stronger biker.
Yeah.
But on the run there was just very little wind, and it was just absolutely stifling. Really, really hot conditions, like Hawaii sort of heat.
Yeah.
Which is hard for us to train to.
Yeah, it's super hard to perform in as well when you're trying to really push yourself. You're already on the limit anyway, aren't you? Without worrying about incredibly hot conditions.
It's sometimes when you come away and you think, well, have I done enough running? It's trying to identify what the problem was, why you didn't run to your potential, when ultimately it could have just been adapting to the conditions on the day. It's just something that's very, very difficult to do. I was cramping up massively. I ran the last 2 miles like Tin Man.
Really?
I was literally like straight. At once, my hamstring was like I was getting sniped. It was quite comical if you could have seen it coming in. I was
funny to watch, man, but it ain't funny to go through, is it? When your hammies are locking up and you're doing the 6-inch vertical jump as you.
Yeah, it was. And then when you do that to try and stretch it, then your quad starts cramping. You're like, oh no, and like 2.5 miles to go. I'm thinking if I start walking here, I'm gonna get gobbled up off people behind me. So I just got in the way any way I could. And I was just like Tin Man running in.
Oh, it's good to know that even someone right at the very front of the age group field and top 10, top 11 overall is having the same experience that everyone there is that day. It's like hideous for everyone, right?
Yeah, it is.
Man, we'll have to hook you up with the boys at Precision Hydration, and you have to try some of their electrolyte salts out, man. That's helped so many people.
Yeah, I did actually. I mean, I dealt with them briefly before Hawaii last year, and I didn't get a chance to have the proper test.
Right.
The proper test they do. I just did like a questionnaire one, and I didn't get it right, if I'm honest. But it was completely my own fault. But I do intend to see them. I think they come up at Bolton, don't they? The UK Ironman. They usually come up and do the testing. So I need to get that done and get some proper solid advice, because it's ruined. It potentially ruined Lanzarote, and it certainly ruined Kona last year for me.
Yeah, we need to get more salt down your neck, mate. That's the key.
Yeah,
just more of it.
I think in Kona, I think I put too much down.
Really?
Yeah, I think I put too much down. I took it to the wrong extreme, and I think I had too much, and it completely sacrificed my race.
Yeah, well, that can be even worse, can't it? That's well, I mean, we'll come to that later on for sure. Let me just take you back a little bit. You mentioned you biked fairly conservatively, and loads of our listeners are super keen into the bikings and stuff. Do you mind sharing things like your intensity factor on the bike? What kind of percentage of FTP did you average and things like that? Because I know,
I'll be honest, I generally leave that sort of stuff to Matt.
Okay.
But I think it'd be about 80, 81.
Right. Okay. So it's right up there, high as. And many of the pros are going to be pushing, I think. Plus, of course, Lanza, you're going to get a lot of variability, aren't you, because of the uphills?
That's the thing. There's a lot of free time in Lanzarote that you can take advantage of and get your recovery in. So how that affects it, I'm not entirely sure.
Interesting. Now, Matt that you mentioned is obviously Matt Bottrill, who you've been working with on your biking.
Yeah.
And obviously your biking was already super strong, but just following your results over the past year, you outsplit Javier Gomez at 70.3 Dubai. So you posted a time as an age grouper riding on your own that was faster than most of the pros who, rumours say, might not have been riding possibly quite to the limit of legality as we might have liked. So you've put a super bike split together there, and obviously this one has put you right up there with, especially riding through the age group field. So how has working with Botty affected your biking, would you say?
He's brought me on in lots of ways. I mean, we do a lot of quality work. We don't do much steady stuff. Certainly for me, I don't know how he adapts it for me to others, but obviously with me, my time constraints, I have to make it quality. So I do a lot indoors, and I just make it count. I just hit the sessions. He sets the sessions, and I just complete them. And to me, that's the normal. But when I speak to him, I always get the impression that he's quite really impressed with that. But I sort of if he sets it, I'll do it, and that's how I work.
Funny that, isn't it? You do the work that Botty sets you, and you really improve quickly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're laughing, man, but this is one of the big sort of unspoken golden bullets of coaching, and everyone's always looking for a secret tip. And like the first one is actually do the training that your coach sets, not the training that you think you need to do. That's like so. From Matt's point of view, as an athlete, if you're doing what he asks you, that's a massive tick in the box right from the off, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, consistency as well. Consistency above everything is key, isn't it?
Totally.
It's just keeping it, yeah.
Now there was a comment somebody read on Twitter. Somebody posted that said, like, Brian Fogarty just finished 11th age grouper at Hawaii, the fastest insurance salesman in the West or something. Surely about to become part-time insurance salesman and full-time triathlete or something. So you're one of these guys who's walking the line. You've got your own business that you're running and working in, and you're training as well. And I know you run your business with, is it your two brothers that you have a business with, and they're massive supporters of you, aren't they? So people are always asking how guys like you, who are at the very top of the sport, manage your time. So talk to us a little bit about that, how it is working a full-time job and your own business as well.
It is, again, it's just managing your time, and I think a big thing is trying to create that environment that keeps things simple for you, where your turbo, wherever you have your turbo, make it in a convenient place where you can just hop on, get it done and hop off, and just try and make your whole routine work around your job. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can see that. That's how have it convenient so you can manage your time really well.
Brian's laughing because in the background of this video call, you can see my bike set up in the turbo in the corner of the office.
It's got to be done. You've got to be organised. I think being organised is a massive part of it.
Yeah.
But this all comes back having a coach, having someone to set your training, and work with them is a massive factor as well for me. I think I'd spend too much time wondering what I'm going to do and writing it down. I look at my training peaks account, I see what I've got to do, and I get it done. And week on week, you develop a routine, and it's routine, isn't it, that gets the results.
And it sounds like you're one of these guys who spends zero time second guessing the numbers and the training stress. You just do what you're told, get it done, have a shower, put your feet up and start recovering. And honestly, man, I think that's one of the biggest keys. If you're saving your mental energy and you're not obsessing about stuff all the time and worrying about stuff, you've got 23 hours a week that someone else is having to basically do some work thinking about their training.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Big believer in that, Rob. Yeah.
So your company, Fogarty Insurance, Fogarty's Insurance. Sorry. Basically, they're not your sponsors, but they are effectively your sponsors, and that I guess they let you come in late and go home early sometimes, and that must be a great position to be in as well, right?
It is, Rob. Yeah. I can't thank them enough for what they do. Don't get me wrong, it's not come easy. It took time. I've had to progress as an athlete to sort of won't say prove to them, but sort of they come to Bolton, they come to Lanzarote, they come to Corner, they see it, they understand it, they see the work I put in, and as I'm getting better, the more supportive they're able to be with me. Because in itself, obviously a race for the team as well. We have a Fogarty's Insurance Tri team, so it's all exposure for that as well, and it just helps me hopefully keep progressing on, and hopefully I can just keep chipping away, taking less. Like that tweet said, less time in work and more time training, and hopefully I can jump another level.
Living the dream, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is it. We're all living the dream, and the beauty of Ironman is there's no doubt you put the work in and you will get results. It's as simple as that. But on top of that, getting the right help and doing it right, getting the right advice and believing in it, and that's for me what I think's the answer.
I think so too, man. Yeah, definitely. And listen, if anyone who's listening, what kind of insurance do you guys do? Is it triathlon specific stuff or insurance in general?
It can be to a degree. We help a lot of people out who struggle insuring their expensive bikes on the house insurance. So a lot of companies won't. We have some good schemes that can accommodate that. So if that's hopefully we'll go out to a lot of the viewers and they'll understand that with regards to insuring the bikes. But yeah, we do car, house, business, travel, the whole shebang.
All right, so cool.
If anyone is listening and would like a quote, please get in touch.
Get on and support Bri.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, more policies, more time off I've got to allow.
People could be helping you win the Ironman World Championships, mate.
Yeah, you never know.
Right, so listen, let's go back a little bit. For guys who didn't hear your story last time you were on, we had you on in August, I think, because you just finished 7th overall Ironman UK and booked your ticket out to Kona. Talk us through how you got into triathlon really briefly and your path up to that point, and then we'll talk about your racing Kona and things like that from there. So how did you end up in triathlon in the first place, Bri?
I took to triathlon, come across triathlon. I left football, I left school, went into full-time football for Burnley FC. A lot of injuries in my second both years there as a professional, training as a professional. Didn't make the grade, got released as a 19-year-old, started playing semi-pro, got a bit disillusioned with it in the end with football, with false promises and being a team sport, and in conjunction with setting up the business, a lot of time going into it. Even though it's semi-pro, you have to, a lot of your time was committed to it. So being a midfielder, I was always a good runner, relatively good runner, and I got into running, joined the local running club. Slightly always as people call it, as mesomorph, slightly muscular sort of physique frame I had. I always felt I struggled hitting my potential as a runner. I got to become a decent club runner. I was like running 33 10-minute 10Ks at a 2:45 marathon, my first one. So I was naturally pretty good, but I just felt, and I ended up getting a lot of injuries through probably overtraining. I got a stress fracture in my shin, and it got me down mentally, because I'm like yourself, like ultra athletes. We're keen, we always want to be busy training. We live for it, don't we?
Yeah.
And a couple of lads down at the club, the running club, Paul Guinan and Matt Bottrill, legends really locally, if you will. Yeah. Back when it first all started, they were doing the longest day sort of. You'll remember that, Rob, won't you?
Yeah, that was my second Ironman. That one.
Like local lads who did this Ironman thing, and it just struck a chord with me. I just thought, I fancy that, and I respected them a lot. Got into it, and just hadn't done a triathlon until I committed to do Switzerland. Them two particular guys were doing that as well, and became good friends. And it's just gone on from there. I did Switzerland, 11:09 at Switzerland, and I did Frankfurt the year after. I got a coach quite soon. Getting into the sport. That particular coach wasn't right for me, but I moved on. But I knew that a coach was right, if that made sense.
Yeah.
Finding the right one was key, but I knew, like we discussed about the planning of it, it was I need to know I'm on a track, on a path, and I can, if I follow this, I'll sort of improve, and it's just gone from there, Rob. I've just improved, committed more time, more dedicated to it, and that's it. And I'm just climbing the ladder,
So you did. What year did you do 11:09 then at Switzerland? What year was that?
I think that was 2011.
So 2011. So it's 2017 now. He says, doing the maths quickly. So 6 years from 11:09 to what's your PB now?
10:18. My best I think was Bolton last year in 9. I think I did 9:11.
Okay, wow. So 911 at Bolton.
Thing is with me, I haven't done a fast course.
Yeah.
I tend to do the challenging bike courses.
Yeah.
Which suit me, but I'm not getting the time yet. Which someday I will. But I'm just sort of happy to do the tough courses.
Well, it'd be interesting for a guy like you to go out and do a Frankfurt or a Roth, wouldn't it? And do one of those bike courses where a guy in your kind of shape is going to be riding, I'd imagine, Joe Skipper kind of times. You'd be in the 4:15s on Roth course.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time with Joe in the winter, and I mean, by his own admission, he'd expect me to be up there and sort of putting his bike splits that he is. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, interesting one. I'd like to see that.
I had one eye on Arizona in November. I don't know if you know. I did that. Tried to back up disappointments at Kona.
I didn't know that actually. Well, listen, I'll tell you what. Let's tell us about Kona. How did Kona play out for you? Because you had the scorching race at UK and you were 7th overall. Super fast time. I mean, 9:11. Did you say at UK?
9:11, yeah.
Which has got to be worth, I don't know, 8:20 on another course. It's got to be, man.
Yeah. If you had the day you want, they're the things that are going around in my head.
Yeah.
And that was I've done Kona 3 times up until that point, and I thought, well, I kept telling you, there's no more experienced here than you. You've got to take advantage of this, and you know the course, you know what to do, you know what to expect. I had a solid swim for me from the disappointing swims I'd had previously. It wasn't spectacular, but it was whereabouts I needed to be. I think it was like 104. It wasn't great, but because Kona's.
Oh, that's solid for Kona, mate. Yeah.
I got on the bike and literally an hour in, and my stomach was just swelling up. It was just bloated to the point. It was painful. It was really painful. I just kept putting it to the back of my mind. Kept cracking on, making good time still. And by the turn point, I couldn't even go on my boys. So I sat up the whole way back. How I managed to do 5 hours, I don't really know. I still come away with 5 hours. Awful power. I got onto the run. I thought, praying that, come on, he might just settle, and he just never did. I was just in every Portaloo on out and back alley drive, and it was just we've all had it. It just turned into an absolute horrendous, horrible day. But I had to finish, and I was determined to finish, and I did, and got the medal. And looking back, I believe some part of it was down to me being too heavy on the salts, because the previous year I was cramping. I think that's the only thing. I've spoke to Matt and took advice, and I just think maybe not enough water. I was taking a lot of the sugary power bar sort of drink.
There are so many things that can come into play, aren't there? It might even be that you got a couple of good stomachfuls of seawater when you're out there. It upsets your stomach, and you just don't know what the thing is. But you're right. If you're hammering the salts and you're taking all that sugary power bar drink as well, it's especially on top of what's already feeling like a jippy stomach. It's just a miserable long day out there, isn't it?
It is, and this is again, it's Ironman for you, isn't it? You just don't know what can happen on the day. There's no result is guaranteed. No, however fit you are, I was going into that confident and fit as I've ever been. I was really looking to hopefully contend for my age group, and it's so sad because I had 15 people come out, all my family come out, and you're going past them and you're in bits, and you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
But they're supportive, and they know they understand it. They understand it's not straightforward.
Well, they know you went in and out of those Portaloos for fun, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you said you tried to go up to Arizona and kind of make use of the fitness that you had?
Yeah, I shouldn't have, to be honest. In the way I was in a bad way after Hawaii. I had 3 drips after the race. I'd lost a lot of weight, and I should never have gone. I got influenced a bit to go out there and do it by a sponsor. Not really with the right intentions for me and my best interests. I ended up doing it because it was going to be an experience and hopefully a fast time, but I was never mentally there or physically, and I crashed. I had a really bad crash. Luckily I walked away, but I come off at some speed.
Oh no.
After about 30 mile, hit a cone and just absolutely went flying. So I walked away, but again, just a huge disappointment to come away, go all that way. It was like, from such a high to such a low. I was in a bad place. It was, it was hard work. But again, this makes you stronger.
I tell you what, the island of Hawaii has got a way of It's funny this, man. I just interviewed Mark Allen a couple of nights ago. We're going to have him on I think the week after we're going to have you on. So you'll have to listen to that.
Of course, I'll listen to all of them.
Mate, he tells this story of like he went to Hawaii, I think 6 times before he had the race that he wanted. And he's like, I was actually sitting down and talking to the island, like, please let me have the race that I deserve to have here. Like, talking to the rocks, you know. And I was like, I love that, because so many people have this experience there of this island is alive. It's not gonna give you what you deserve. It's gonna give you the thing that gets you, like, the experience you need. And maybe you needed that 27 Portaloo trip to really break you for some reason. I don't know, mate.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, there's not many that have gone there and done well early. I mean, McCormack was another, didn't it? It took him a long time. Whatever happens, I'm going to give it another crack this year. I can't leave it on that. But whatever happens after this year, I've committed to not going back the year after. So maybe a slightly different approach. Maybe not go in with such. Maybe that's the secret. Not go in with the intentions of like having your best race. Just letting it happen. My actual fastest time out there was my first ever one, when I knew nothing about anything.
Wow.
I was just so naive to it all, and I went in conservative, and I actually had my best time like 9:30. It's weird, but every year I've been back so fitter and stronger, but I've gone worse.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, but maybe I want it too much in a way, so I might just go in a bit more relaxed this year and just let it happen, just enjoy it.
Yeah. You know? Well, you've already obviously punched your ticket. You've got your slot out there. So what do you plan to do? Sort of, what are we now? At the beginning of June almost, aren't we? What do you plan to do between now and October then? What's your racing schedule like?
Staffordshire 70.3. I'm gonna have a blast at that. I found it worked last year doing a couple of halves before I mean, obviously Lanzarote, it's hard to get any halves in before, but I'm a big believer in doing a half or two before a race, just to sharpen up with the speed and get on top of everything. So I'm going to do Staffordshire, and then hopefully again bring up my local race, a big race at Bolton.
You're racing Bolton as well, are you?
Further up the field.
Nice.
Yeah, I live right near the course, so there's no excuses. I know every pothole. The course suits me. So yeah, I want to go back, and I don't like putting positions on things because you don't know who turns up, as you know, Rob, at these races. But hopefully, challenging a bit higher up the field, even more, and take some more scalps.
Yeah, fantastic stuff, man. That's really good. Hey, well, listen, bud, it's been absolutely great having you back on the show and hearing your story. Just before you finish, there's always this crossover at the very top end of age group sport where, I mean, you're now finishing top 10 in the pros at a race like Lanza, which is, like I said, it's arguably the second biggest Ironman race in the world, I reckon, outside of Kona. There's that, and there's Lanzarote, and there's Germany, Austria, probably all on a par as the biggest races. So there's no question that you're one of the biggest names in European and world age group Ironman racing, and so obviously you're going to start attracting sponsorship in a similar sort of way, but a different sort of way that professionals will, because companies see you as an opportunity to get their name out there and stuff. So how is that, being at the very top end of age group racing and getting approached for sponsorship? Because I know people are fascinated by, I mean, I'm sure half the audience would love to be a sponsored athlete.
Because I do feel, I mean, I might be biased, but I do feel as an amateur who I'd appeal to the amateurs, which is the main masses of Ironman. It's where the masses are. I have to work. I mean, I don't know what sort of angle the sponsors, look at, but I'd love to try and attract someone to put the name to me, and I can hopefully just take some less time at work and a bit more time pursuing this dream.
Yeah, it would be great, wouldn't it? Well, listen, man, I'd love to see somebody come along and offer you a bit more of a chance to, because you are right there. You're on the very cusp of going to Hawaii and finishing up amongst the pros if you have your perfect race, and who knows, man, you could go and you could be the first age grouper to go sub-8 the way that you're riding. It really could happen for you, which would be just awesome, wouldn't it? I mean, a pro who goes sub-8's a big deal, but
there's a lot to come. I believe that. I've learned a lot this year. We didn't touch on it, but training with Joe Skipper for 3 weeks, you get a good insight.
Hey, well, let's talk about that before you go, because I'd forgotten. You guys went out to, was it Lake Tahoe you went to?
Yeah, Lake Tahoe for just for me, just under 3 weeks. But wow, what an experience! Incredible. The stuff I learned from him. He was fantastic. Just living like a pro, learning how he does it. We had some great laughs along the way, but it was just I come back really believing that if I was given the opportunity, that I could do some damage. And that's been the frustrating thing since then. Just before that, the sponsor left me. It was just become a bit difficult. So yeah, I'm just hoping I can keep the results coming to hopefully open some doors,
Well, clearly going out to altitude really worked for you, didn't it? It seemed to give your fitness a massive boost being out in Tahoe. And
I don't know about that. I don't know if the altitude was anything specifically a benefit for me. I think for me, the training with Joe was the bigger factor.
It was more about the environment, was it, than the actual the altitude? Yeah.
Training 35 hours a week, just living it, absolutely living it. I mean, we lived like monks. A treat for us was to go and have a coffee after swimming. But learning, the biggest thing I took away from that was how it's done from someone like Joe at that level. What they put into it, the sacrifices they take, it's second to none. Some of the stories I could tell you, some of the risks we took just to get to training at times, you wouldn't believe. The guy's just, he's crazy man.
Go on, give us a story. Give us one of the crazy stories.
There's one example. We were unlucky really, because typically it was the worst winter Toa had had for like 50 years. So it was horrendous. The weather was a lot worse than it should have been. But nevertheless, we got everything done. So it was some great character building. There's one particular day, we had two cars, I was driving, and like you couldn't get out of the door. It was like 5 foot of snow. It was ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it. So Joe had a swim set to do. So I was there. I played a supporting role to Joe because I thought I'm there to not assist him, but get out of it for me, but also be there for him to train with. So we had a swim set to do this afternoon. We'd already done like a big bike ride and a big run that day. And I opened the door and I ended up having to make a decision. I said, Joe, I can't drive you to swimming. We can't. There's not a chance we're driving in this. It was just crazy. So I said, I can't take that risk. So he looks at me and says, yeah, all right, no worries. And then literally about 10 minutes later, he's there scraping like old stuff off old snow off car, trying to get it started. I said, what are you doing? He went, I'm still going. And I'm like, Joe, and he wasn't even interested in how. It was just a case of getting there. How we got back, he wasn't even interested. He wasn't even bothered about how we got back. It was just a case of getting there, getting the swim done, and coming back. But the conditions, you wouldn't imagine. There's no sane person would have done it. But it was just the length Joe will go to get the training completed. I thought I'd go, but he just goes to another level, and that's just how it has to be done. And I took away that a lot from him.
How did you guys get riding done then? If the weather was that bad, did you have to drive into the valley?
One particular day, but we just go down to the valley, just drive. But even just some of the drives we had to get there were like suicide. But we were there for that, and that's what it was about. I'd say I'd like to give a shout out while I'm on here, and he'll be listening. And he's an athlete of yours, Pike Reedon.
Yeah, I was going to say Pike mentioned to me he'd seen you guys.
The beauty of this sport is how it brings people together, and what he did for us out there, the hospitality he showed, and some of the things, the gestures he did to help us out was absolutely incredible. He'll live with me forever. Really, really genuine, nice guy. Yeah, awesome man. Really
That's
helpful.
Really cool, man, because I remember he sent me a message saying he'd seen you two training a few times out there, and he didn't go into details, but I thought that's pretty cool actually, the fact that he's bumped into you guys and you've heard of him and he's heard of them through the podcast. It's nice it brings everyone together like that, isn't it? And you're right, incredible. The community is so supportive.
Yeah, I mean, there's another example. We did a ride. We were doing a 6.5 hour ride, and that was it. 6.5 hours, a few efforts in between, and about 2 hours, Joe weren't having a good day, and next thing he's off back, he's gone. That's not like Joe. So anyway, we went down this big highway. Turn back, but he's had a punch or something. So about an hour and a half later, we come back, and he appeared from nowhere. Right, so I've got this in my head that was a 6.5 hour ride here that we're going to get done. He comes back. I said, "Where have you been?" I said, I was bonking. I had to get something to eat. So all right, that's fair enough. So I'm thinking, we're just going to have another quick hour. No, Joe, still content on doing 6.5 hours. So I'm up front like, thinking, well, hang on a minute, I've just done an extra 2 hours than you. But it just wouldn't out. It was still 6.5 hours, and so I ended up doing like 7.5 hours that day, just because he was, even I'm thinking like, there's no way once you've bonked, it's like your days, your session's pretty much done, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not for Joe. He goes and has a brew, has a fry up, comes back, and that's it. We're back on it. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm praying he's going to cut it short. We're going to have like just have an early finish. But no. So it was going dark. My bottles were freezing up. My bottles were frozen up, and my bike was freezing up as I was riding. It got that cold. But there's nothing in his mindset that says we're not doing it. We're just doing it.
I remember saying to him when he told me he was planning to go to Tahoe, I was like, it's winter out there, right? And he's like, it's okay, we'll still get the training done. I was like, dude, go to like Tenerife and ride around the top of Teide. And he's like, no, we're going to Tahoe. It's going to make us strong. It's like, okay. So this is, when I spoke to him, he's like, yeah, it was all cool, no problem. I thought, all right, fair enough. And then you hear these stories and you go, that's what I thought it was like, but it just doesn't faze him, does it?
No, nothing fazed him. No, I mean, in his defence, we did get everything done. We got everything done we wanted to. By hook or by crook, we had some dicey moments. But it was typical. It was the worst winter they'd had. It was usually like literally the week after we come back, it up like 6-7 degrees, and it was beautiful. We were unlucky, but it was unbelievable character building, and it was just a great experience.
Well, that's it. You go through that, and you can do anything in racing, can't you?
Exactly. Well, that's it. Even Lanzarote, I'm thinking, well, this is nothing I've not been through. I was doing 2 hour runs with him when I was absolutely on my knees. I was waking up in the morning, like, just in tears going to the bathrooms. I was so sore. But you just crack on, and you get over that, and you bring it into your races, don't you? The tough times you have in training.
Well, that's the real interesting thing to remember, I reckon, is that mentally, that's what you've got in your head when you're racing. It's not the hardest day of your year. The hardest day of your year is back in February in Tahoe. This is just a hot day, and you're going to get to finish soon, and you won't have Skipper making you do 2 more hours at the finish line.
Exactly that. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. That's exactly how it is. You get a lot of confidence from it, don't you?
Yeah. Oh man, it's brilliant to see, mate. I knew you were good and you were at the top of the tree when we spoke last year, but you've managed to progress yourself even more, and that's so good to see, because no matter what level an athlete you meet is at, you want to see him improving and getting better, and you're still on the upward trajectory, and I think that's just fantastic, man, and I think there's more good stuff to come for you. So I really look forward to hearing the next story in your chapter, and who knows, fingers crossed, that could be the race in Hawaii. I'd love to see you finish it off with a great race out there, mate.
Fingers crossed, mate. Yeah, that's the plan.
Cool. Hey, well, listen, thanks again for coming back on the show, mate. It's been great to hear your story. And if people want to find out a bit more about your insurance company, give us the web address. How do they get in touch with you? Yeah,
just www.fogartysinsurance.co.uk. All details are on there. We don't sell on there, but there's all the contact details to give us a call or drop us a line, and that would be fantastic. Very much appreciated.
Oh, perfect, mate. It's a pleasure to be able to help you out in a small way. All right, buddy, you take it easy, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Superb. Thanks again, Rob. Take care. Bye.
And there we go. Top guy, amazing performance. Love to see him manage to get back to Kona and actually put out a really good performance that we know he's capable of in Kona. An interesting story of someone who's working at the very top of age group triathlon, and also how he sort of combines his work life and his work life balance to try and fit all the training in. Which we all absolutely love, that puzzle every day, don't we, Rob? Yeah, nothing more fun than trying to fit the training in around work, is there? Not at all. Oh. Rob, should we mention a couple of other things? Yeah, go for it. Okay, so quick shout out to Chris Carey, who got in touch with us because he said he went under 5 hours at the Cotswolds half, so the middle distance race at the weekend, and he said thanks for all the tips and hints on the podcast. Nice one. Nice one, Chris. Congratulations, mate. That's a good milestone, I think, going under 5 hours for the half Ironman. Well done. And then the last bit of info, Rob, is that, we were at Ironman UK, weren't we, a couple of years ago? Yeah.
I was obviously there last year as well, and I don't know. You might not. He probably wasn't at Wimbledon, but basically, you hear Paul Kay on the mic.
Absolutely, yeah. He's been the voice of Ironman for several years, hasn't he?
He has. So he will be at Bolton again this year. However, he will not be at Ironman Wales. He will not be calling you over the line at Ironman Wales if you're doing Wales. In fact, UK is the only one that he's going to be doing. He's going to be part of the team at the World Championships, 70.3 Championships, which is the same weekend as Ironman Wales. So instead, it's going to be Joanne, who does like Dublin and quite a few of the UK ones as well with Paul. And then Jérôme Perrault, who they call Jay, he's from Switzerland, Rob, and I was looking him up actually. He is a triathlete himself, but he's also very much a DJ.
Interesting.
Yes. So like a proper sort of
big pair of shoes to fill there, Joanne. Let's see how she does. I think she'll do great. She's no stranger to the mic, is she?
No, not at all. So yeah, the two of them will be greeting everyone over the line in Tenby.
Jolly good. All right, well, that's just about it for this week, I think, isn't it? We should wrap the show up.
I think so.
So I hope you guys all have fantastic, safe training and racing weeks. Our girl Helen will be away for the next 2 weeks. It'll just be me flying solo on the mic while you wend your way down through Italy. Best of luck, mate. Very exciting time for you.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it's good. We'll keep you posted.
Keep in touch. Give us a little voicemail and let us know how you're doing.
Do you want one?
Yeah, definitely. If you do a voicemail thing, then I'll put it on the show for sure.
Okay, fine. I'll send one for next week and the week after.
Brilliant. Well, make sure you tune in next week. I'll do the thing solo for the next couple of weeks, and we've got interviews with Mark Allen coming up, as well as a couple of other bits and bobs that are interesting we think that you'll like. So so join us next week. Until then, you've been listening to the Oxygenaddict Triathlon Podcast. I'm Coach Rob Wilby.
I'm Helen Murray.
And look after yourselves. We'll speak to you again soon. Cheers now.